Brought to you by Mr. Pros TV, streaming from Tempe, Arizona. And we're live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Your busy day to come on to Real Estate Pros.
I appreciate it.
And going to be a fun time here. Let's go ahead. So for those watching that may not know who you are or what you do, give us a little bit of background about yourself. What interested you in real estate?
Sure.
And we'll go from there.
Well, cool. Well, I'm going into my 4th year now in real estate.
4 years in real
4 years,
estate.
Yeah. And before that, it kind of started when I was a kid. I was always interested in construction and design. And my grandpa built his own house and was in construction. And then I went to school to go into construction. And I always wanted to be that kid, or that you see in the kid books, you got that person holding the set of plans pointing, but they're in the dress shirt.
Right. Yeah,
That's what I wanted to do. So I went to school.
That was the dream, right?
That was the dream. And so one day when I'm out at the job site, I ended up doing that, and it sent me way back. And so it's something I had always loved doing. And just prior to real estate, I was at the top of my wants and interest, where we were designing hospitals and operating rooms and cath labs and a lot of complex stuff. And I enjoyed the hell out of it. But I hit this plateau of the work was getting easier, but it was stressful at the same time.
Right, yeah.
And there was this philosophy of, once we're done with this, on to the next, on to the next. And through the encouragement of family and friends that were in my circle, like, why don't you try this? And since my brother had gone into it, he kind of gave me the idea of it. And one day I kind of hit this wall at work, and I'm like, screw it. I'm gonna go to school. And so I committed to going to school. I ended up turning down a really good job with the next step in my design field, and just persevered through it. My wife stayed at home with the boys. And then as soon as I graduated or finished school,
right,
I worked probably 6 months, both between the day job, real estate, and my little side venture, to save up enough money to just dive into it.
Right.
And the philosophy behind that was, like I said, my projects were on to the next, on to the next. I've always been motivated by teaching and showing and being vulnerable and having the emotional bandwidth to help people. What better than to serve people in this capacity? And so now when I'm done with a transaction, it's not on to the next, on to the next. They're still my friends. They're still people I can relay that to. And since I have no sales experience, I'm just hardcore construction, I think people can see that, okay, you're not a salesperson. And although I'm a little bit more vulnerable because I put my heart out on the string, but as time has gone on, I've been able to create deep connections with people. And as we go through this stressful time period, I don't feel very salesy, and they know that I'm not. And so it allows me to be there for them. I had one person say, you saved our marriage. So
really?
That was a really good takeaway on that.
I mean, that's one of the great things about being a real estate agent. You get to be a counselor. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's what they say. You wear
all these kind of hats.
Yeah.
So, man, that's a kind of crazy story. You lived out your dream, your childhood dream, and then, a little stress, but transition to real estate. What have been some surprises or things that you weren't really anticipating, and then you got into real estate and you're like, oh man, I didn't, maybe, yeah.
So I always wanted to be self-employed somewhere.
Right.
I used to collect business cards as a kid and look at the font and touch and feel them. And I always wanted to go that way, and real estate was the most logical way to step into it and not bet the farm and lose everything to try it.
Right.
And the biggest surprise I felt by going into that was, I think anybody can be self-employed, but the real trick is, do you have the stomach for it? And I remember quitting my good W-2 job and being at home, being full commission. My wife's at home with the kids. It feels very different. And everyone
right.
thinks
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
Well, you kick your feet up. It's
no.
just a sense of reality on what's going on. And it's nice to have had enough time where I'm a little bit, you go to the gym for the first time, you're sore, and where you're at now, after you've gone long enough, you feel a little bit conditioned stuff. But
Sure.
the surprise to me was just having the stomach for the being completely out on your own, where you always have employees to work with and learn from and that kind of stuff. But where you're at here, it's like
Ventura is definitely 180. Like, it is completely different than, I can rely on this exact same paycheck every 2 weeks.
Exactly.
Then you transition over. You get a nice one,
Yeah.
and then it might be famine for a little bit.
Yeah.
So I know your brother Nate Brill. I
Mhm.
know him very well. Have you? So I'm gonna say. So right now, do you work as a solo agent? Or do you guys work as a team? Or how? What's the dynamic of your real estate business right now in 2018?
The dynamic of the business, as soon as Nate brought me under his wing, kind of taught me his sales perspective. We've always been the yin and yang aspect of things. But then you hit that wall where you're like, I'm ready to grow. I'm ready to leave home and go try things out on my own. So he was real supportive with that jump. But I've always been inspired by the military and, large in part the Navy SEALs and the training that they have, the selfless leadership things, and the discipline it takes to do work that's harder than most. But at the same time, I've always had the biggest heart. And so I wanted to create my real estate team where I've got the discipline of that of a Navy SEAL, but I have the heart and compassion of Ellen DeGeneres. And so I try to bridge that gap between it's time to go to work and be focused and lead this way and be selfless in that aspect. But at the same time, be appropriately compassionate, appropriately playful. I say my bat signal is the emoticon. And when you go through my text messages between me and my clients, every other one's got 3 smiley faces in it. And then the business, the logo is just a smiley face. That's the whole thing. And to be able to break the barrier for discomfort on when you're trying to earn business with people who don't know you, your level of trust, I got the smiley face to help break that. But it's backed with the discipline and motivation to do the harder work that's, I would say, uncommon, if you will.
Absolutely.
And I enjoy bringing that to that.
So currently in 2018, are you a solo agent?
Yes, and so currently it's myself and my wife and my brother-in-law.
Nice.
And so my wife, we put her through school last year, and so she's starting to learn this as she lets go of being a mom at home and being able to work this way.
Right.
I wanted to help my brother-in-law find his way, so I'm like, hey, let me at least teach you what I know. You got to go to work.
Nice.
But for the most part, I'm pretty much with myself and my wife going through that. But it makes bringing home work a lot easier.
Right.
Yeah.
That, or you can never stop talking about real estate,
yeah,
right?
And then you got to put yourself in check.
Yeah.
I've got 2 boys at home, and I bring them on showings. They get to know my customers. They get to see me interact with people on a professional level. And one thing I really enjoy doing is when it's time to move, we offer to help physically move. I don't know what it is. I just like physically punishing work. And my boys sign up for the job.
Oh, really?
And so if we've got enough heads up, they know they're in a pinch. If they need the physical help, we'll show up. And I'm usually buying the pizza, but my boys are there. We're all in our bright orange shirts to help move stuff.
Right.
I get to teach them the act of being able to help people, serve people, but then also, we got to have some hustle. We got to be able to move. And then you're down there in the trenches with your people. But my boys being able to participate in that, and my wife being able to have a role in that makes it, more of a family-based, a real relationship focus, as opposed to I put a sign out front, on to the next,
sell, and it's a transaction. Exactly. Actually, that's something that caught my interest when you said earlier is, you see them as, your friends and acquaintances after the transaction. I think that's something that oftentimes gets lost in the shuffle as, agents can get caught up just going to the next deal and kind of forgetting the past ones. But, those are really important relationships to foster for your future business, for referrals and whatnot like that.
Yeah, that's the byproduct of it. And you'd asked the question, was there one surprise that I had getting into this that I didn't know? We all have jobs. We all make friends with colleagues. We all leave work, and we've made friends with 1 or 2 that stay with us our whole life. I did not anticipate the friendships would make in doing this. And so all of my favorites in my phone, they can call me at any time. The majority of them are past clients.
Really?
And we've hit that friendship status where, if I write them a card checking in or a thank you card or happy birthday, I'm not super inclined to always throw in a business card. Sometimes I do just to make sure, but it's motivated by genuine, hey, I'm here for you, I'm your friend. And if you're not ready to sell or buy now, I'm at least a safe place for you to ask those questions. And that has surprisingly brought in my inner circle of friends or past clients, which was hugely surprising.
Right.
But that's what makes this so much fun.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of tools out there that kind of can help support real estate agents keep their past clients' sphere of influence organized. Is there something that you use that really helps you stay organized with your clients and not forget them?
It's going to sound corny, but I use Google and I use Excel. Nate being the Excel wizard, I don't know everything, but I know how to copy and adjust and read the code and delineate the code. And so by him showing me how he managed his sales force because he had a sales background, I took that and interpreted it and adjusted and polished it. So I keep everything in my Excel, and it's gone as far as having my database and my pipeline, and it correlates with my funds and all of that stuff in one thing.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone says, hey, we offer this new CRM, so on and so forth. I'm like, me and Excel, we're pretty good. And then Google, I use it just because if my phone dies, it's still got all my contacts.
Right.
Stuff. But we'll see as the team grows. Right now, I can't always do that. But between that and I use Dropbox for all of my file management and stuff like that.
Right.
That's pretty much the main thing I use.
Sure. And we know that there's there's a lot of real estate agents. I think last year around 20,000 did deals, but they're on the roster there's like 40,000 real estate agents. What sets you apart from the agent down the street? Why do people gravitate towards using Josh Brill versus agent down the street?
I like to think it has to do with my unconventional approach to introduction, I guess. I've got that giant white open house sign, and it's got a bright smiley face. That is the majority of it. That's all it is. And I've had people come in and say, I wanted to come in and see this because it was compelling. It was interesting. I hadn't seen that. And then I've got this sign at the front that says no sleazy salesman inside.
No
sleazy salesman. And it's got a big old circle with a line through it. And I'm dressed like a civilian. I will be at least dressed like this, or I'll have a polo on, and I'll have my name badge on. And depending on where I'm at, I've got a tattoo that comes down on my arm. But I'm in a crowd of people, you wouldn't know that I'm the real estate guy there.
Right.
But I have a very passive approach, and I'm all about you. I don't really care about the transaction or any of that other kind of stuff, because once they know that I'm here to just help, and even if that leads you to making a decision that doesn't involve me just yet, you at least know you were guided in the right way. And I spend a lot of time doing pizza and beer with my clients.
Right.
We sit down and we go through the MLS together and develop a relationship. And, a lot of times we end up going to buy a house together. But there's this soft, non-salesy, I'm here to be your friend, and I'm going to help you however I can, without any expectation that you're supposed to give me something.
Right.
And I think as time has gone on, it's allowed me to develop a little bit of a comfort in myself. And I think they see that, but they also know that this is me. I'm not going to pretend I'm somebody else. And I can tell that makes them comfortable. So I hope that is what is allowing me to somewhat stand out.
Sure.
But I'll help renters, buyers, sellers, someone who's just got a question. Even if there's no end game, it's like, this is a safe place to ask questions.
Sure. Like, you're not going to hawk them and put them in your thing,
Mm-hmm. I always say I'm not here to be up inside you. I'm here to just help you.
Right.
And that's.
So what area of the valley do you focus your business on? Are you more geographic area, or do you drive all over Phoenix or area?
live in Surprise.
Sure, Surprise.
My job before took me all over the valley.
Oh, gotcha.
And so I'm familiar with all over the valley, but I'm not going to get in the way of serving somebody who's looking in Mesa. So I'm helping somebody right now. I live in Surprise. They wanted to go out buy in Mesa.
Mm-hmm.
So we developed a plan after some pizza and beer, figured out what we were going to do. We drove all the way out to Mesa to look at houses just to get an idea. And then we went and did it again. And so my main hub is the West Valley. That's where I live. I enjoy that.
Right.
But if someone needs help on the other side of town, I'm going to serve them in the same kind of capacity and help them every step of the way through that. So
Sure.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, if somebody is watching this show right now and they're interested in buying or selling or renting or whatever, have a real estate related question, how do people reach out to you, Josh?
They can hit me up, and my email address at josh@orange-az.com. I've got a Facebook page, but to me that feels very noisy, and so I'm more just the quiet, soft interactions. And so my email address is the best way to hit me up. Phone call really works as well. That's really just where I'm at with that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking time
I
out of your
appreciate it.
busy day and
I
joining me
appreciate
here
it.
on Real Estate Pros. And we will see you guys on the next episode.